Thursday, July 11th. I'll repeat that again. This is a permit review committee and the Commission of Chicago Landmarks. Today's date is Thursday, July 11th. Call the meeting to order. Commissioner Jekowitz was unable to attend, so I'll be chairing the meeting in his place. I'll do the roll call of the committee members. Commissioner Fair, Commissioner Ponce, Commissioner Hughes, and Commissioner Rubin is not here. I am Commissioner Wong, um, betting, what do you call it? Designated hitter? Okay, designated hitter, yeah. I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes of the June 14th, 2014 meeting. Is there a motion? Yeah, Commissioner Hughes and second. And second, Commissioner Fair. Commissioner Ponce. And I am a yes also. The motion carries. There are three projects on the agenda for today's meeting. Staff to the commission will present the project on the agenda and state their recommendation. Following the staff presentation, the committee will have an opportunity to ask questions of the staff. The applicant may then make a statement. Following the applicant's statements, members of the public may then make their statements. I'd like to ask anyone other than the applicant wishing to make a statement on the item today on today's agenda to complete a public comment card and give the card to a member of the staff. Comment cards are available at the door. As a courtesy to other individuals wishing to offer comments, we ask that members of the general public limit your statements to 3 minutes or less. When the time comes for public comment on the item on the agenda, I'll call your names in the cards and ask you to come and make your statement. At that time, please state your name and the interest, organization, or company that you represent, if any. First item on the agenda is the Southside Community Arts Center located at 3831 South Michigan in the 3rd Ward. These are proposed alterations and a new 3-story rear addition to a 3-story masonry community center building. And Tyler Taylor, it's yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman. The Southside Community Arts Center, or SSCAC, is a long-running arts institution housed in an individually landmarked building at 3831 South Michigan Avenue. It is located mid-block on the east side of the street between 37th Place to the north and Pershing Road to the south, with a public alley to the east. The Art Center was originally constructed as a residence for George A. Saverns Jr. and his family. Saverns, pictured top left, was a wealthy partner in his father's grain elevator business. In 1892, he commissioned architect Gustav L. Hallberg to design a stately Georgian-style mansion on South Michigan Ave, a preeminent neighborhood for Chicago's elite at the time. The Saverns family only owned the property for a few years. It then changed hands a number of times. It was acquired by the SSCAC organization in 1940, which did not have facilities of its own until that point. The mansion was adapted for the Art Center as part of a work projects administration initiative that established many such art centers around the country near the end of the Great Depression. This is the only one of these art centers that is still active today. During the 1940 conversion, a portion of the main building's interior was renovated by Hin Bredendijk and Nathan Lerner, 2 students of Laszlo Moholy-Nagy, director of the short-lived New Bauhaus Design School in Chicago. The first-floor gallery, now known as the Burroughs Gallery, the reception area, and the stairs connecting the first and second floors were part of this interior renovation and are the interior designated spaces. Their design was radical and forward-looking for its time. This was appropriate for the SSCAC, as it was one of the first arts institutions to host exhibitions and programming for artists of all racial and economic backgrounds together, at a time when the rest of the art world was still largely segregated. All elevations and roof lines of the building are significant features of the exterior, which mostly retains its original 1892 appearance. The building is clad in face brick with a limestone base on the front and both side elevations, and has a hipped roof with little overhang. Limestone trim and classical details feature heavily on the front facade. A decorative pressed metal cornice ran around the entire perimeter of the roof, though at some point this was replaced with a simpler flat one. On the north and south elevations, some windows have been covered. The windows at the first floor gallery were covered when it was converted in 1940, but the other non-historic infill is proposed to be removed. At some locations, with the windows beneath the infill, will be repaired and restored. Where the windows are missing and at the lower level where they are deteriorated, they are proposed to be replaced. Details of the new metal cornice and replacement windows should be provided with the permit drawings. In addition, the roof is proposed to be replaced like for like, and tuck pointing and other masonry repairs are proposed at all elevations. The Art Center is proposing significant interior alterations and in addition to the building, creating new galleries, meeting rooms, archives, support, and other spaces. MEP upgrades will allow the existing spaces to better conserve artwork and artifacts in the center's collection. A new rear addition is proposed for the rear of the site, outlined in red. The designation ordinance covers the original boundary of the subject lot, highlighted here in blue. The two lots to the north of the property have been acquired by SSCAC and will be combined with the subject lot, allowing the addition to extend further north than the existing property line. The majority of the interior on the lower level, second and third floors is proposed to be demolished to allow reconfiguration of spaces. The designated interior spaces on the first floor at the gallery, reception area, and the two-story stair will be preserved with some minor changes. The existing coach house at the rear of the property is proposed to be demolished, which was reviewed and approved by the committee at the May 2024 meeting. On the interior, the first floor Burroughs Gallery and reception area are lined with the original pine paneling that was installed in 1940. The applicants believe the pine paneling was stained a darker color at some point and has not simply darkened with age. They propose to chemically remove the stain and use a lightening agent to lighten the wood. Tests of multiple agents are proposed to determine the best method for removing the stain and lightening the planks. Because there's no documentation that the paneling was stained, staff recommends a test first determine whether any stain can be removed. If stain cannot be removed and the wood has simply darkened over time, the paneling should not be chemically lightened. The floor of the Burroughs Gallery and the stair treads and risers were painted at some point, and tile was installed over the original floor of the reception area. The tile and paint are proposed to be carefully removed and the wood flooring refinished and returned to its natural color. Neither the tile or paint are historic, and the removal will restore the historic condition of the floors. In these areas, if removal of the paint or tile reveals any flooring that is deteriorated beyond repair, it should be replaced with flooring matching the original in type, wood species, width of planks, and height of the finished floor. As part of the renovation, additional insulation is proposed to be added to the exterior walls to increase the building's thermal performance, which will require the pine paneling to be temporarily removed in the process. The planks will be carefully numbered and cataloged so they can be reinstalled in the same locations and orientation. The new insulation will add about 5 inches to the thickness of the exterior walls, slightly decreasing the interior dimensions of the space. This will require some of the pine planks to be trimmed. Staff believes this change will not be an adverse effect. However, to minimize the amount of planking that must be modified, the entire south wall should be shifted north by the minimum amount necessary for the new insulation. The doors between the Burroughs Gallery and the original reception area will need to have an upgraded fire rating to meet the current life safety code. The existing doors are proposed to be removed and replaced with identical but newly fabricated doors that have the required rating, mounted on electromagnetic hold opens. Staff believes this approach will require the least alteration to the historic fabric and recommends that details of the new doors should be included on the permit drawings. The existing non-historic acoustic ceiling in the Burroughs Gallery is proposed to be replaced with a simple gypsum ceiling recessed near the walls. Staff believes the design is compatible as it references the original ceiling the space had during the 1940s, but is not an exact copy. At the rear elevation of the main building, where the new addition is proposed to attach, the small kitchen wing and some windows and areas of masonry are proposed to be demolished, as shown here in red. The proposed new addition itself is located at the very back of the lot so that the main building is entirely in the foreground. The section of the proposed addition extending north of the main building is 2 stories and contains the new fully accessible main entrance, accessed by a combined ramp, stairs, and larger outdoor porch. The rest of the addition behind the main building and to the south is 3 stories in height. The lower two-story portion of the addition is proposed to be clad in rain screen panels, and the three-story section immediately behind the main building clad in a glass curtain wall system. The south portion would be clad in a combination of both, with the panels at the first 2 stories and glazing above at the third. The north porch at the entrance is a light-colored concrete, but an exact specification has not been made. A new simple metal fence is proposed along the front of the property. At the portions of the addition that are to use the rain screen system, the cladding material has not yet been selected, pending confirmation of pricing, lead times, and other factors. However, it has been narrowed down to 3 options, one of which will be used. One option is GFRC panels with perforations creating a pattern. The masonry-like material would complement the brick and limestone of the main building. Another option is weathering steel, also with a perforated pattern. This would stay within the palette of colors present on the main building and reference the pressed metal cornice. The third option is a masonry screen composed of both solid and breeze block type units. This also has a direct reference to both the colors and masonry materials of the historic building. Staff believes all 3 options are compatible with the historic building. Whichever one is ultimately selected, specifications and details should be provided on the permit drawings. The curtain wall cladding a portion of the addition is proposed to be by Conair with captured vertical mullions that are proud of the glazing and expressed on the exterior. At the hyphen connection between the addition and historic building, the glazing is proposed to be clear vision glass. At the remainder of the curtain wall would be semi-translucent frosted glass by Viracon. At the spandrels for each floor level, opaque white spandrel glass is proposed. Staff recommends approval of the project as proposed with these conditions. Alderman Dowell has reviewed the proposal and has issued a letter of support. The applicants are here and available to answer your questions. We have the owner's representative, representatives of Southside Community Arts Center, and the architect here.
Thank you, Tyler. Does the commission have, or the committee have any questions for Tyler at this time? I will turn it over to the applicant. I don't know which one of you want to speak or make a statement.
Yeah, Tyler, thank you for the wonderful presentation. So I'm the architect Future Firm, and we're also working closely with Kennedy Whiters from Workshop Kilowatt, the historic preservation architect. She's based in New York, but she so wasn't able to make it today, but a lot of this work is part of her efforts on the project. We're super thrilled about the design. I think that Tyler did a...
Did you state your name also?
Oh, yeah, sorry. My name is Anne Louie. I'm an architect principal at Future Firm. We're the architecture director on the project. We're really thrilled about the design, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
Director for the Southside Community Arts Center, and I can't even begin to tell you how excited we are to be at this space. It's 84 years in the making. We've been wanting and needing many of these improvements for a while. We're super excited that we've got the right team with our owner's rep, with the architectural firm, with our wonderful board of directors and amazing staff to really move this project forward. So we're super excited. We hope that you are as excited, and welcome you to come visit us at any point in time, before and after. But with that, I don't know if you want to hear from our board member or Aaron. Just wanted to make sure that we are totally in support of this project and looking forward to us moving forward.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lance Goff. I'm one of the board members on the Southside Community Arts Center. To come this far is a dream that we never thought would happen. This is just unbelievable. What this center will bring to the community and to the Bronzeville area would just be unbelievable. So we're very pleased to be here, and we want to thank you for all of your help. Thank you.
You're on.
Awesome. I'm Erin Lavin, Kevin RG. I'm the Development Advisor and Owner's Rep for the project. Southside Community Arts Center, as mentioned, is super grateful. I'm very grateful to be here in front of you. Very grateful to Tyler and the entire DPD team for helping talk us through all the different options and really work tirelessly on the creativity of the solutions here that the center needs to grow their programming and become ADA accessible. As you can imagine, with a building of this vintage, it's very challenging to bring modern amenities and accessibility to the facility itself. And so they've really been creative and helpful, all city departments with whom we've met, including MOPD, DPD, building department, but particularly the collaboration with Tyler and meeting with the Department of Buildings with us helped us resolve some of those tension pieces. So we were really, really thrilled and excited to have that level of collaboration. Couple things I just wanted to compliment the team on from Future Firm and from Kilowatt. Their solutions are so culturally sensitive in these wonderful ways in which to salvage brick, to reuse a lot of the vestiges of the coach house when it will be demolished, but also the reverence and care to the rear entry of the building, which has cultural significance, and how that's going to be celebrated as part of that connective tissue between the addition and the existing building, as it relates to how African Americans were allowed to enter in the building in the past. And it's just a really beautiful statement, and there will be a lot of interpretive signage explaining the wonderful way in which this building and the art that's produced and displayed in it is being celebrated. So I'm just over the moon to be involved in the project and can't wait to see it all completed. So huge thanks to your team.
Thanks, Ed. Question? Commissioner Olson, you did?
I have comments. It's really incredible to see this project, and it's certainly appreciated all of the steps that are taken and the care that has been taken to get to this point. So it's a joy to be here today to see this project here. Congratulations on making it, and thank you for the invitation. I'd love to see it before and after.
Good. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah. No, just wanted to applaud you all. I mean, it's clear from the packet that we got that there's just been a lot of attention and detail to this project. So it's always great to see it come back and see kind of the incremental development. It's probably already been thought of and captured, but you know, particular for some of the interior spaces, the reception space, probably to a degree inside of the gallery as well. Just wanted to be mindful for how the electrical is handled. So if, you know, particularly for that reception desk, I think it's even in some of the images, you know, just where to whatever extent wire management and access to outlets could be thought of, I think that's going to be important for that to really remain the hallmark space that it is. So that's super tiny. I think what's interesting are the three options for kind of the screen for the expansion. And I think, you know, color palette wise, you guys have got it right on the head. I would imagine there's a lot of factors that will play into a final decision on that. But, you know, I would just encourage, you know, thinking of long-term maintainability. You know, I think there's, you know, the only thing that jumped out to me is with the weathered steel. You've got everything that comes with weathered steel and what that may mean for the site. So I would offer that, but otherwise think it's excellent work that's been done.
Good comment. I did have a couple of questions. One of them was regarding the interior panels. At the ceiling, it goes up to the acoustical ceiling. Now that you're going to do this floating ceiling, how is that going to meet? Or have you know, what's beyond the acoustical ceiling?
So we did some preliminary exploratory demo to understand what is above the non-historic ACT ceiling, and we see the exposed joist. So there's not another finished ceiling that was located above there. So we're going to do a kind of cove detail above between the drywall and the Burroughs Gallery panels in order to do a kind of downlight around the perimeter at the gallery, which will reflect the original Bauhaus ceiling from the 40s renovation, but in a new material that I think will be more cleanable and more flexible for AV lighting and other gallery requirements.
Great. The second question I had was the schedule. You could talk about that.
I can answer the question with regard to schedule, but if it's okay with you, I want to address the electrical outlet question
okay,
because there's
of course.
also a larger point at play that I failed to mention, so I apologize. Part of what we're doing here will also include significant environmental sustainability provisions as well as economic sustainability provisions. The environmental sustainability provisions include a geothermal well system. And why we believe that's important, not only just to the long-term operations of the facility, it also allows us to have unfettered ceiling heights and reducing the amount of ductwork that's going to go through the historic building. And so as you're thinking about wire management and making sure that we are concealing a lot of that, as it would potentially decrease the historic significance of something, we're thinking the same way mechanically. So I wanted to make sure to share that with you, Commissioner, because we're doing a lot of work with that. This is a project that has funding from community reinvestment, from DCEO, from the Illinois Arts Council, and ComEd has committed to some funding as well. And so we're working through a number of those items, and that will ultimately determine the systems and final purchases. Part of why you're being asked to allow us to continue to explore 3 facade options is specific to that funding and the fundraising. So Monique and the entire board have done this remarkable job in garnering the funding and continue to bolster that funding. So we're really hopeful we can continue to push and afford more and more. But one of the bigger schedule implications is that one of our grants do sunset, and it's over $2 million grant. So our schedule has a I wouldn't say complicated, but it has a nonlinear approach to it. So forgive me if I don't sound fully, step after step. But what we're doing right now is we've completed our design development package. We've had a cost estimate done by a third-party estimator. We've begun discussions with all of the city departments as it relates to regulatory approvals. As I mentioned, fire department, MOPD and others, building department. So that we're well poised so we don't lose the funding that we've received from the Illinois Arts Council. We are now beginning our outreach to all the assist agencies that help us with economic sustainability provisions, HACIA, BLC, BCU, Federation of Women Contractors, and others, so that we can get enough awareness and participation in the work as we go out for a general contractor. So that's our next big step. We intend to do that with our next milestone, which will be the 1st or 2nd week in September, to get a pre-construction general contractor on board. So the schedule intention is to allow for a few early release packages to spend down that sunsetting grant. It may be geothermal wells, well field, it may be demolition and foundation. We just don't know what that is yet until we start working with the GC. But it is our intention to have the center in a temporary location come April 1st of 2025. So we'll do some preliminary work, and then we'll vacate the site and allow for the entirety of the work to begin April of 2025 and then be done the next summer. Sorry for the long explanation. It's just not an easy schedule to articulate.
Go ahead.
Please.
Excuse me. I was just going to add something interesting for those who haven't had a chance to visit us yet. When you enter into the Burroughs Gallery, there are all these wonderful wooden panels, but there are also a lot of holes in the panels. And what they represent are the reflection of all the art that's been there. And so that's not only super exciting, and to the credit of the wonderful team at Future Firm, some of the pieces you asked about, the first 3, the options, the idea was to somehow tie that historic information to the outside. So it won't be necessarily known when you first see it, but that was really kind of the concept. And when Tyler mentioned and everyone else has mentioned just how much effort has been into keeping and maintaining the cultural significance and the history, that's just another component And I think that we all super got excited about that because it was like, you know, those telling that story and understanding all the artists that have come through those doors, and then to have that significance outside as well to replicate in some form or fashion was just really exciting. And so I wanted to mention that as we embark on, you know, which one of those three facades will, you know, work best for us. So.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I don't want to take up too much time, but I did see that note, and yeah, I know the process of exhibiting work and what that means for an artist is, you know, a science in itself. So, you know, not to influence what the final solution is, but you know, that definitely helps sell the GFRC for that. So yeah, kudos again.
Worth saying we're looking at the custom full perforation also in the weathering steel as well. So the rendering you saw was an early study where we were looking at etchings by Margaret Burroughs, but we do think the whole pattern, which really resonates, as Monique mentioned, with the history of the institution, would also be applied in the weathering steel system.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes, first and foremost, I absolutely love this building. We live very close by, and I'm excited to take my little one to visit someday soon. I the paneling is my biggest question. The rendering of the interior transformed with the drop ceiling is really beautiful. It's very bright, airy. It feels more museum-like. Have you guys tested the wood yet? Like, is there a backup plan if it doesn't work, to still brighten the space?
Yeah, I think, and I'll speak for Kennedy, the historic preservation architect, on this. I think this is a piece that we've all been reflecting on a lot because the historic images do show originally in the 1940s renovation that the wood was a lighter color. So I think in part there's a desire to honor that history. On the other hand, I think the current Burris Gallery is really beloved. Though removing the panels as part of insulating the exterior wall does give us an opportunity to do that lightning that was mentioned. So I think that there is a materials conservation subconsultant with Kennedy on board the project who will do preliminary testing around the lightning and potentially removing of the stain of the panels. But I think we feel confident that the upgraded artificial lighting, as well as the light from the west-facing windows that are often open during exhibitions, will produce a really nice combination of natural and artificial light as needed, depending on what the exhibition entails.
Perfect. I'm super excited. I also, the rendering of the three different facades, the courtyard that's in front of it also seems like a really exciting space, that I'm excited for. I can imagine, you know, our children and our community kind of, you know, having a camaraderie moment in that space. And I look forward to the finish line of this and getting out to support some more.
Because that makes me really excited too. We've really ideated a lot around that convening space and the ability for the addition to serve not only is this amazing place that will have elevators and access, but humidity control for art storage for the very first time in the center's history. But part of how that addition is laid out allows for an open platform for spoken word assemblies or any kind of presentation or sculptural exhibitions that are sort of outside and inside. And so it's a place that excites the entire team. And it's Monique and her whole team have been so embracing of all the ideas and allowed us to explore a space of convening. And that space is extremely special. So thank you for recognizing that.
And then finally, I would just add to that we have been very deliberate as a team to make sure that we embrace all of the new, but we maintain the heart and the significance of the original space, and that we honor in different spaces the ancestors, that we have a space outside. We haven't finalized different art pieces that may or may not go out there, but we are very focused on making sure that it's a true community space. And it not only offers things to the community, and as Bronzeville continues to grow and be a viable resource, and now it's been named, a cultural district, we want to be, an important component of that. And so I'm super excited. You mentioned the Burroughs Gallery, the light will certainly, when I saw the photos of the original panels being like, I was kind of like, okay, what happened? But I think the lighting is going to be clearly important, especially for us as we move forward with exhibitions. There's a uniqueness of having work hung on the wood panels, but there's also an important component to having lights that actually really showcase the art in a way that people can see it and, appreciate it more. So we actually have done a couple of outside things. We've been hesitant to do them before because the ground is not level. And so this will allow us to expand and use those spaces on both the north and south for programmatic opportunities.
Fantastic. Any other questions or comments? Just one real quick thing. I assume that no zoning changes no zoning changes?
No, that's correct. We met and requested a review of that, and we're as of
Okay,
right.
fantastic. Last thing, you have a wonderful opportunity with that, your fence across the front. Get that right. Thank you. That's all I have. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Nobody signed up for public comment. Nobody's here. Okay. With that, I'd like to note that the committee's authority is bound by the landmarks ordinance, and the committee's decision on this matter is based on criteria outlined in the ordinance and the commission's guideline. And so I'd like to call on or request a motion to adopt the staff recommendation for this project. And second by Commissioner Fair, Commissioner Ponce. And I am recusing myself from this vote. But the motion carries unanimously. Okay, congratulations. Thank you. Next item on the agendas is the property located at 2323 to 2325 North Cambridge in the Mid-North District. This is a proposed construction of 2 rows of 3-story masonry townhouses, each containing 8 units. And Tyler, you're on again.
Waiting 1 second.
Yeah. Folks,
Okay. The subject properties are a portion of group of 9 vacant lots that make up the site of the former complex for the Senecal Sisters of Chicago, which was determined to be non-contributing to the Mid-North District by the Commission in June 2021 and were demolished soon after. The site for this proposal is at the south end of these lots, with frontage on North Cambridge to the south and west, proposed shared private drive to the north, and property lines shared with the rear of the adjacent properties to the east along North Cleveland. The previous site plan for the properties was approved by this committee in 2021. This proposal would modify the previous site plan to combine lots 7, 8, and 9 shown here into one larger lot as shown to the right. The immediate context along North Cambridge includes a variety of buildings of different styles and scales. The applicant is proposing 2 new rows of townhouses, each 3 stories in height and containing 8 dwelling units. Because of the unique interruption of the typical street grid in this location, only the south elevation of each row has frontage on a public way. The south end walls of the proposed townhouses therefore make up the primary facade as viewed from the street. The applicant is proposing, oh, sorry. The 2 rows of townhouses are arranged on either side of a shared court that provides vehicle access to the garage for 12 of the units. The remainder have garage doors facing the alley or the private drive. Access from the street at the south is for pedestrians only, and no new curb cuts on the street are proposed. The south setback at the street matches the setback of the neighboring building, maintaining the existing predominant setback on Cambridge. The east and west elevations are the front facades as viewed from within the shared court, but are only visible as secondary elevations viewed from Cambridge to the south. There is some variation in the overall arrangement of the doors and windows between units, but each unit contains an entrance door with a stoop 12 inches above grade. For all the units, a metal-clad bay containing 5 windows projects from the 2nd and 3rd floors. The bays have modern detailing but are overall reminiscent of historic metal-clad bays located throughout the district. The parapet that forms the guard for the deck at the roof level is capped with a thin metal coping. These elevations are secondary as viewed from the street, but staff recommends that they are overall compatible with the district in form and proportion. The west building at the south elevation is symmetrical on the front facade, with a set of 2 gang windows and punched masonry openings at the ground level on either side of the entrance. The 2nd story has 3 identical window bays, each with a center picture window and tall double hung style windows, bipella on either side, like a typical Chicago window. The 3rd story has sets of double hung style windows on either side and a smaller set of square windows in the center. Vertical frames of inset masonry around the windows and center entrance extend up 3 stories, emphasizing the verticality of the building. The design is simple and in keeping with the proportions and detailing of historic masonry buildings in the district. The west building is the same height but appears narrower as part of it is tucked behind the adjacent building. It also has a center entrance with a short stoop and the same arrangement of window openings. However, each is simply 1 double hung style window in a punched masonry opening. Like the west building, this facade is also simple but compatible with the styles and themes of the landmark district. Enlarged section details of the proposed windows were not provided. These details, along with enlarged elevations of the entrance and garage doors, should be provided with the permit application. Both buildings have a rooftop terrace and access penthouse. The provided renderings show the penthouse for the west building will be somewhat visible when viewed from the west on Cambridge, but it is set back far enough that the lower parapet is still perceived as the top of the building. The penthouse atop the east building is set back even further from the south and is not visible. This rendering shows the proposed development looking due north along the north-oriented section of Cambridge. Both buildings are proposed to be clad on all sides in a modular-sized red brick by Endicott in color ruby red with matching colored mortar. This brick is within the range of size, colors, and textures found within the district and is compatible. The short stone base, windowsills, and stone flat arches over the south street-facing entrances are proposed to be buff-colored Indiana limestone. The standing seam siding for the rooftop penthouses is by Pat-clad in color zinc, and the window bays are proposed to match this color. The color for the metal parapet cap is not specified, but it should match the bays and metal siding. These materials and colors are all consistent with the materials and colors present in the district, and staff believes they are compatible. Staff recommends approval of the project as proposed with these conditions. Alderman Knudsen and the Mid-North Association have both reviewed the proposal and have no objection. The applicants are here and available to answer your questions.
Thank you, Tyler. Does the committee have any questions? Would the project team like to make a statement?
I think we just mainly like to thank Tyler and DPD staff for their review, their prompt review of this. This helps complete part of the Senecal redevelopment project and actually adds now, the project will now have basically the 3 main types of residential housing with single family, townhomes, row houses in prior times, and multifamily within this property fitting into the Mid-North. So we've worked with the neighbors, we've worked with staff, we've worked with the Alderman's office and bringing this project together and look forward to your favorable review.
Thank you, Rolanda. No other questions? I did have one real quick question on Cambridge. The existing conditions has those overhead wires. Are those being intended to be buried, or what's going to happen with those?
On
I think on Cambridge, if you go back to the rendering,
East-West Cambridge.
yeah, right. Hang on.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, right
in the
there.
existing condition photo.
Existing conditions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a monumental task for us to do. But hopefully someone will, or ComEd will, at some
Just
point bury
checking.
it.
Just check. Mark, you gonna take care of that? Okay. All right, thanks. That's all I had. Any other questions, comments? Nope, not in the, okay. Nobody signed up for public comments. Therefore, any further discussion? I'd like to request a motion to adopt the staff recommendation. Is there a motion? So moved, Commissioner Fair. Second, Commissioner Ponce. Commissioner Hughes. Yes, and I'm a yes as well. The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Go forward. Thank you, folks. Next item on the agenda is located at 4730 North Sheridan Road. This is in the 46th Ward in the Uptown Square District. This is a proposed 20-foot wide by 5'7" high illuminated marquee with a 2-line track reader board. And Joyce, it's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is a 2-story masonry building designed by architect Ralph Campbell Harris in 1914. The building is located on the eastern end of the Uptown Square District. The building was previously occupied by a youth and family social service agency for several years, and the current owner is Circus Steam, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to unite youth across all backgrounds and identities by fostering self-esteem and mutual respect through the practice and performance of circus arts. Renovations have been made to transform the space to provide performance art spaces on the first floor and administration functions on the second floor. This work was previously reviewed and approved at the staff level, and the applicant now would like to install a sign above the entrance. And since the sign is over 100 square feet, it requires city council order, which triggers review by the permit review committee. The proposed marquee is 20 feet long by 5'7" high by 18 inches thick, with a bolted connection to the brick wall behind. The marquee matches the width of the storefront entrance below and will be installed in the unadorned brick area between the first floor storefront entrance and the second floor arched window above. And as you can see on the plan view on the top left, the marquee will not cover the angled terracotta surround. The new marquee is proposed to be a painted aluminum cabinet with the business name in acrylic push-through illuminated letters and a 2-line letters on track reader board below. Letter shadowing will be painted and with push-through illuminated accent line work. Bulb lights will line the perimeter and will remain static illuminated. The location and size of the proposed new marquee is based on the historic marquee that was installed in the building when it was the Lakeside Theater, as shown in the historic photo at top left. The historic sign was removed sometime in the past, and a large mosaic sign and mural that was installed by the previous owner in 2006, which was prior to the district designation, shown in the photo at bottom left, was removed last year, and the masonry facade has been renovated. The overall form, width, and projection of the proposed new marquee is similar to the historic marquee. There are other theaters within the district that have large marquee signs, and this is in keeping with the character and scale of the building. Staff recommends that installing a marquee on this facade is appropriate for the building, and the design is reflective of the building's intended use for the circus arts. Staff recommends for the applicant to submit a scaled and dimensioned wall section that shows existing conditions, where the marquee will be installed, and attachment details should show that it will not attach to or obscure any decorative historic masonry. The Alderman's office and the community group have been made aware of the proposal, and that concludes my presentation. Unfortunately, I don't have any representatives from ownership or the sign contractor here today, so please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Joyce. Commissioner,
Yeah, just a quick question. There's no impact to the entry vestibule, the storefront, that we know of?
No impact. It's going to be below this stone band that you see below that second floor window.
Mhm.
So it won't cover any of that ornamental stonework, and it'll be right above that storefront entrance.
Yes, are they aligning the attachments to be the same proportion as the existing masonry?
Their goal is to be able to locate the attachment locations within the mortar joints of the brick behind.
I had the same question.
Yeah.
Okay. And the applicant is not here. Which ward is this in?
46.
46. Okay. Nobody signed up to speak on this side either? Okay. I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt the staff recommendation for the project. A motion. So move, Commissioner Ponce, second. Second, Commissioner Fair, Commissioner Hughes. I'm a yes as well. Motion carries unanimously. All right, that's it. There being no further business, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn. All right, and a second. I'll say aye. So moved. And we're. All right. All in favor? All right, we're all set. Thank you.